All right, so here we go with quiz 8 study guide. You should have your notes out. You should have your calculator out so that we can all work these problems together. And your first 3 problems. You're going to find the slope of the line that passes through the pair of points. So you've got the slope formula in your notes. So right here, Rm is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1. We got 1 minus 7 in the numerator, in the denominator 10 minus 1. That gives us negative 6 over 9. And negative 6 over 9 simplifies to negative 2/3. Problem number 2. The slope is going to be equal to 3.1 minus 6.1 over negative 2.5 minus negative 5.5. So 3.1 minus 6.1, negative 3. And negative 2.5 minus negative 5.5 is equal to positive 3. So negative 3 divided by positive 3 is negative 1. And problem number 3. Slope is equal to 9 over 2 minus negative 5/3 divided by negative 2. No, I made a mistake in the numerator. 9 over 2 minus negative 1. And then negative 2 minus negative 5/3. So I'm going to be using the fraction button here in the numerator. I'm going to keep, change. I'm going to do the same in the denominator. So I got 9 fraction button 2 plus 1. It's 5.5. And in the denominator, I got 2 negative plus 5/3 equals negative 1/3. So let's divide this and see what we get. So 5 1/2 divided by 1/3 negative equals negative 16 1/2. All right, so everybody's good with slope. Y sub 2 minus y sub 1 divided by x sub 2 minus x sub 1. All right, let me shrink this down a little bit. Use the diagram. Use the diagram to find the following. All right, so problem number 4. Identify a pair of alternate exterior angles. All right, so line H right here, this diagonal is your transversal. So we need alternate sides of the transversal in the exterior region. So angle 1 and angle 1 and 5 those are alternate exterior angles, and so are angle 2 and angle 6. And then number 5 asks you, what are 3 pairs of corresponding angles? Corresponding angles. Remember we said they hold the same position in their respective group. So we have 2 groups of angles here. So I'm going to start with angle 1. And since angle 1 is in the upper left region of its group, I need the upper left region of this second group. So that's angle 7. And then I'm going to go with angle 8. And it corresponds to angle 6. Angle 2. Angle 2 corresponds to angle 4. And there's 3 pairs. The fourth pair would be angle 3 and angle 5. All right, problem number 6. What is the relationship between angle 3 and angle 6? So here's angle 3. Here's angle 6. All right, here's our transversal. The diagonal vertical is our transversal. So angle 3 and angle 6, those are alternate interior angles. And what do we know about alternate interior angles? They're congruent. Problem number 7. Line R is parallel to T. So these two are parallel. Find the measure of angle 5. The diagram is not the scale. We need the measure of angle 5, which is right here. And we're given this angle up in the top right. The relationship between those two angles, they're alternate exterior angles. And alternate exterior angles are congruent. So the measure of angle 5 is equal to 135 degrees. Problem number 8, find the measure of G. Diagram is not the scale. So again, we have G, which is on one side of the transversal, the left side of the transversal, and it's in the exterior region. And then we're given an angle measure of 34 degrees. It's on the alternate side of the transversal in the exterior region. So these are alternate exterior angles again, and they're congruent. So the measure of angle G that's equal to 34 degrees. All right, in problem number 9, Find the measure of angle P. All right, what you want to notice in this problem is that you got line J and line K. They've got one arrow on them. That means they're parallel. Line G and line H, they have two arrows. That means that those two lines are parallel to each other. When all the vertical looking lines are parallel and all the horizontal looking lines are parallel, you can only have two angle measures in the whole picture. All right? So the easiest thing to do is to just, I like finding all the angle measures using the rules that we've learned. If this angle down here is 130 degrees, then what's the measure of the angle vertical from it? Good, 130. And if this angle is, the given angle was 130 degrees, what's the measure of the angle to the right of it? 50 degrees. They are a linear pair. So hopefully you can see the difference between the big angles and the small angles. The small angles look like this, and they're all 50 degrees. The big angles are obtuse. They look like this, and they're all 130 degrees. All right? We've also got a lot of corresponding angles in this picture. So if this first angle down here where my cursor is 50, then this angle is 50 because they correspond. And if it's 50, then P is 50 because those two correspond to each other. So the measure of angle P is equal to 50 degrees. All right, number 10. Find the value of x. The diagram is not to scale. We are assuming here that F is parallel to G. Now, what helps on this problem is if you just extend this diagonal here. And now we've got a transversal that intersects two parallel lines. The two angles are consecutive interior angles, and they're supplementary. So 5x plus 9x plus 36 is equal to 180. Oh yeah, thanks. 26. All right, so we got 14x plus 26 that equals 180. Subtract 26 from each side. 14x equals 154. And then divide by 14. $11. Problem number 11, find the value of x. Diagram is not to scale. Okay, so this goes back to position in respective group. The 2x is in the upper left position. The 40 is in the upper left position of its group. So they're corresponding angles and they're congruent to each other. So 2x is equal to 40. Can divide both sides by 2. X equals 20. All right, problem number 12. Find the values of x and y. The diagram is not to scale. In this diagram, I'm going to take this first diagonal and extend it. Then I'm going to take the second diagonal and I'm going to extend it. And these two lines are parallel. It makes this line a transversal. So where this 74 is located in this picture, if I were to redraw this picture right here, if I did this, this, and this, and I left this line out where my cursor is, I'm just going to leave it out. I'm going to put an x minus 3 right here and a 74 right here. Can you see that relationship better right now? Aren't these angles both in the upper left of their respective group? So aren't they congruent to each other? So that's how we find x. X minus 3 is equal to 74. Add 3 to each side. X equals 77. Now, that's your x. There's your first answer. Go back to this original picture. If this angle where my cursor is x minus 3, then isn't this entire angle in here equal to 77 minus 3, which is 74. So this angle is 74. So now I'm going to redraw again, and I'm going to redraw this portion. Let's see, let me highlight it for you. I'm going to redraw this portion of the picture right here. And what it would look like is this. Here. With this angle being 74, this angle in the middle being 41, and this angle being y plus 8. What do these three need to sum? 180, because they form a straight line. So we got y plus 8 plus 41 plus 74, that equals 180. So our y, we got to add 8 plus 41 plus 74, 123. So y plus 123 equals 180. And we subtract 123. And y equals 57. All right, find the value of x for which P is parallel to Q. If the measure of angle 1 equals 4x, So angle 1 is 4x. Measure of angle 3 is 112. They want these two lines to be parallel. It makes the horizontal line a transversal. Those two angles are corresponding angles, so they're congruent to each other. So 112 equals 4x. Divide both sides by 4. And 28 is equal to x. And we're done. All right, and last but certainly not least, number 14. Find the value of x for which L is parallel to M. So when I see these pictures, L parallel to M, and this transversal is just a segment, I turn it into a line. Just extend it. Sometimes it makes things easier to see. It does for me anyway. Now we have alternate interior angles. Alternate interior angles are congruent, so I got a 3x minus 43, and it's equal to 80. So I add 43 to each side. Three x is equal to 80 plus 43 is 123. Divide both sides by 3. And our x is equal to 41. And that concludes your study guide for quiz number 8.